house. I've got the bats hung up. The bats just arrived. Sounds like the dog's joining us as well. Would you like to say hello, Muffin?
Just a minute.
Just a minute, wait until T-Boy is organised. He's just bringing the baby gate. They're quite narrow and steep, these steps up to our office. Far too steep for a little doggy woggy. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here he comes. Just let me turn my echo off.
Just echo off.
That's it? Right. He likes lipstick. Don't you, Muffin? He likes lipstick. Come on.
Hello, everybody.
Say hello. Oh, don't do that.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, do you know?
Oh, that's
Kevin. Does anybody want a Kevin? I've got one going really cheap.
I tell you what, they're well made.
I've got one going really cheap. You can have him free of charge. I tell you something, you won't stand him very long. So we made it. We made it just in time. I went back to fetch something which I thought would make you all laugh. Down there, Kevin.
What?
On the box.
Is this
No, not yet. Not yet.
the parsnip replacement?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I managed to order the shopping this morning. And they sent us a surprise ready for Brew at 2. So if you'd like to send me private message me your name and address and I'll post one to you.
Have you done with him?
Yeah, I'm done with him now.
Come on, Mufti.
So what Kevin actually did, I've got some little cottages on the thing to show you. So what do you think he did? He knocked it off onto the floor.
That has been bounced 4 foot from the floor and it's still intact, so I can guarantee they're well made.
Yes, we do our get up. We do our best. Are you sure you don't want to buy a Kevin? Because he's really driving me mad.
Come on, honey.
I can send him to you free of charge. Free of charge. So, right. I've got a runny nose and I've got a cough. Yes, I would miss him if only for his ability to lift heavy boxes. That's very true. That's very true.
I had to swerve many times before I missed him, officer.
So we've got a busy afternoon this afternoon. You might notice that my little laptop's down here. They're already online, Stephen. Everything I've got is all on the website at seasideemporium.co.uk. The little laptop's down here because I've got Kevin's super large. Are you ready? I'll show you. Super large monitor. Second-hand Rose. Just call me Second-hand Rose. So let's put it this way, I can see. And just in complete state of disarray and discombobulation as normal.
I think Muffin's going to sign on to Brew at 2 chat. He's on my knee.
But nonetheless, we're in fine form today. So we're ready for a funny afternoon as usual. So don't forget, before we go any further, don't forget, make sure that you've given the video a like, give it a thumbs up. We've got 71 watching currently, 3 minutes in, and there's only 27 thumbs up, so we need to make sure we've got all the thumbs ups. Tell all your friends to watch Visit FYLDE Coast. If you could all recruit, on average, there's sort of about 1,500, 2,000 people watch Brew at 2. So if you all told your friends about our channel and you all recruited another one person even, that would be another 2,000 people, wouldn't it? And I didn't even need to take my socks off to work that out. And of course, welcome to everyone. Welcome to everyone. Kevin's on a time delay normally because what I say as I say it's slower coming up online.
Well, you know what's going to happen? You're going to say, Kevin, come here, and I'm going to say, 10 minutes later, come in.
Perhaps it would be better if you weren't writing comments.
I won't.
So, You might have noticed I have my back mug. If you want to brew at 2 mug, you can get them online. The link is in the description underneath the video. No new bats this week, but we do have lots of exciting posts. So we'll start, shall we? We'll start just for June. Are you with us this afternoon, June, or are you watching on replay? I know she quite often watches later on when she comes in from work. This is just for you this June. June loves a little bit of toilet talk, so I'll get my little plastic. Oh, she's with us. Are you ready, June? So you know how we've got this theory. We've got this theory that Brew at 2 is sponsored by Tenner. Well, I managed to remember to order the shopping this week, and by the time I came downstairs, because I've been working upstairs, by the time I came down from the living room, T-Boy in training had put most of the shopping away. So there's a packet of toilet rolls and something else, because we store bulky things in our cupboard down here. There's a packet of toilet rolls and something else sat waiting for me. I said, where on earth have they come from? I've not ordered them. I think somebody at Sainsbury's. Watchers Brew at 2, and they decided to slip these into the delivery. Just, I don't know, but if you knock anything off, I'm going to kill you.
Okay. It's the nicest thing you've ever seen. Muffin wants to say hello.
Muffin wants to watch, don't you?
I've spoiled joke now, haven't I? Sorry.
Yeah. So you put me off. Go away. So there's another packet sat there waiting. And I said, who on earth's ordered them? Because I've not ordered them. Where on earth they've come from, I can only think, because you know they have like plastic crates in the van. I can only think that somebody is watching Brew at 2 with a very soggy pair of knickers. So if anybody, I've got 10 available for anybody that wants to borrow one. Borrow one. Oh, dear me. Anybody that wants one. So if you'd like to send me your name and address in a private message, post one to you. Hey, right, tickled me that, I thought. Where they come from? Either that or Kevin's got something to tell us.
Well, I come at you, sir. It's me.
So, yeah, exactly. Just imagine borrowing one, Joan. Imagine borrowing one and watching Brew at 2, piddling in it, and then sending it back. That could be quite revolting, couldn't it? Anyway, I've got a pile. I've looked at the receipt, because I do the shopping. I've not been charged for them. I don't know anything about them. I've never bought that in the past. So they've got to be somebody else's that's gone AWOL and fallen out of a trug into our shopping.
They're always spilling milk, so maybe it was.
Yeah, it's usually milk. It's usually milk that they spill. So if you've seen I've got some boxes down here and some prezzies and well, exactly, David, they could be useful, couldn't they? I've got some boxes and prezzies and things down here. There might be Chrissy Gates, yeah. We'll ask him if he needs them. So you probably saw the box that Peggy sent me from Newark, and some more Fisherman's Friends, which I'll probably be needing before the show's out. And inside this, I opened this on the video that I did in Cleveland. And inside this, you'll notice I've got the bat hung up that I've usually got around my neck. Oh, where's my dustbin gone? And inside here was this other bat. Still on the subject of toilets, of course. This bat that poos. And I thought this was very clever. It goes... Apparently it's a stress ball. And it's slightly sticky, very squidgy. And it's got a very petrochemically smell to it. And I thought it were brilliant, that. it looks just like I feel. So that's super duper, that's super duper. And she also as well sent me some fingerless gloves, because I keep saying that my hands are cold. And do you know, I've looked all over the place for some fingerless gloves. They've got missed out of the first parcel when that she sent earlier. So these are mitteny things. There's a punchline to this. So they're like that look. So they sort of cover your wrists. So Linda, lovely Linda yes, we've got tenner for the back, Eric. Lovely Linda in Kilmarnock also sent me a parcel. And in it, Linda has sent me some lovingly handmade wrist warmers. Now, I do know that wrist warmers are a thing, and I think they're very clever as well, because there's a thumb hole in it, so you can put your thumb through. So the idea is that you put that over your arm, and it keeps your veins warm that are underneath the skin here. And I know that they work. And then you put your glove over the top like that. That's it. So I'll be super set up here. Super set up and ready for doing my typing in the morning. Because you see, my dressing gown only comes to like there when I've got my hands like that. So I always end up with a cold gap. So I shan't have a cold gap. Thanks to you two very thoughtful ladies. Isn't that good? Isn't that good? So thank you ever so much. And Peggy also sent some socks for the tea boys as well. To keep the yes, she did. Did you not know that?
No, I didn't know.
I thought you'd seen them. I thought you'd looked in the box.
No.
Argyle socks for men. There's one for you and there's one for your mate.
Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you ever so much. And some other lovely little bits and bobs as well in this box. So you're just so kind. Anyway, that brings me on to Senga. And I know Senga's watching because she's commenting. That brings me on to Senga, who sent me an email yesterday and said, did you get your flowers? Flowers? What flowers? So it turned out that Senga last week had sent some flowers by courier. She'd waited until the sort of the hullabaloo of the funeral and whatnot was over and done with, to cheer us up after the event, which I thought was very nice, because after the event is when, you know, everybody kind of carries on as normal, don't they? So no, there's no flowers, no nothing. So she sent me the email which said that they'd been left in the back porch. Well, we haven't got a back porch. We've kind of got a front porch. We've got a sort of a bubble thing that's open that you can stand underneath and not get wet. But we've not got a back porch. We've just got a back door. So I knew they'd not come here, and I knew we'd had nothing. We'd had nothing at all. Anyway, Senga, lovely as though the thought is, and is the thought that counts, she decided she was definitely sending flowers. So today we got a box from moonpig.com. So you'd be pleased to know, Senga, it turned up. What a lovely box. You know that you've reached middle age when you start getting attached to cardboard boxes. Plastic boxes is another matter, but we'll not talk about that. So inside the box is a little bit of naughty. Kevin says it's a portion for one. I said we're sharing them. And some flowers. So you ready? I'm going to show you the flowers. Now this, we're not sponsored by Moonpig or anything like that. It's lovely. It's really pretty. It's in a little flower bag, and it's a little pink rose, look. Isn't that lovely? And the nice thing, Senga, I don't know whether you thought this when you sent it, but the nice thing about things like this is that when you've enjoyed the flowers inside, you can plant them. You can plant them outside. We've got one or two actually of these little miniature roses that we've planted over the years that people have bought. And you know, they do ever so well, so that's a top tip. If anybody buys you one of them little miniature roses, plant it. I'll not put that down there because nothing's going to eat it. Plant it in the garden and it will continue to flower and grow. There you go, that's today's top tip. So thank you ever so much. You're just all so nice, you're so lovely. So that's that. Do you know they're lovely and warm, these? Very nice. So, excuse me. I'm still barking like a dog. You'll notice that this week we uploaded a new video, 3 Go to FYLDE. So we thought we'd have a bash at it, and we'd see how we went along. Oh, poor Ian. Ian's just put a message on, and apparently a couple of weeks ago we were congratulating him on his engagement, and they've split up. What a shame. I am sorry, Ian.
Oh.
I am sorry. Yeah, so going back to what we were saying, FYLDE. So I thought you might enjoy a bit of light diversion. So we've got different plans for various different jaunts. We've made 2 more jaunts since then, but we didn't actually video them, largely because we were so tired when we went that I think shopping and making a video at the same time would have been just a bridge too far, so we stuck to just the shopping. Thanks from Sheffield, Andrew. My old stamping ground. So we will make some more videos when we go out, because we've got all kinds of places that we're thinking that we're going to go. And I think what I'm going to try to do on a Sunday, I tend not to upload a video on a Saturday because experience tells me that everybody's busy doing what everybody does on a Saturday. So people are going out and doing the shopping and doing the jobs and doing the housework and things like that. So readership viewing tends not to be quite as sort of enthusiastic. So what I'm going to try and do is do something a bit kind of left field on a Sunday. So this Sunday I've got a little bit of cooking coming up here. So I've got 2 videos, which basically is Sunday's tea that I made on Sunday, funnily enough. So we had carrot soup followed by not quite soda bread. So which one do you want first? We'll have a vote, shall we? We'll have a poll. Let me put a poll on. Which do you want first? Do you want the not quite right or a recipe? Not quite right is yes. Oh, hold on. Just a minute. Talk among yourselves. Which cooking video first? So, are we going to have not quite right or as it should be? Because one recipe was as it was supposed to be, and then the other one I realised I put the wrong ingredient in and carried on anyway. Because as I said when I started, it wasn't going to be one of those slick videos that you watch on YouTube where people are come out of there, where people are know what they're doing, and manage to do it seamlessly and, you know, professionally and without any effort. I'm just having trouble with Benny Hill. There's some sweets down here and muffins, found them, so it's sniffing. So there's a not quite right and then as it should be. I mean, as it should be is still not exactly, well, Fanny Craddock, which brings me on to another subject. You might remember us discussing Fanny Craddock in previous episodes. So there's currently an advert running on television for dyeing your hair pink. Excuse me. For dyeing your hair pink. I've no idea what the advert is, but every time it comes on, I just keep thinking to myself, pink's one colour that I've never been. So I think it was you, was it not, T-Boy, that said when are you going to go pink, Jane? I said this time, I said I need to wait a bit longer until my natural colour goes a bit paler, because when you've got dark hair like this, if you tried to put a pink colour, you see this, there's some of it white and some of it's still quite dark, and if you tried to put pink on that, you just end up with a gloopy colour. So what you would do for somebody like that is bleach it white and then put the pink on, which wrecks your hair. So I said I need to wait until I'm a little bit more grey first, and then I think I probably will have a dabble at pink. I like the idea of pink. In fact, Caroline, was yours blue when I saw you the other day, or purple? Because it looked rather nice. I thought that looked rather nice. Anyway, so we were talking about pink hair, and Kevin said, why don't you dye your hair pink and I'll dye mine? You will look beautiful, and from above I will look like a donut with pink icing, just like Fanny's.
Now, an explanation for those who may not have seen T-Boy in training.
Imagine this dyed pink. It'd look just like a donut. Because purple. If you want great donuts, make them like Fanny's. I shouldn't be laughing really, should I, when I've got a cough. Caroline's suffering as well. She's got a cough. What's happening around there?
He's on Daddy's knee now.
He's on Daddy's knee. I'll get my fisherman's friends ready. Caroline's also got she's had a cold and it's turned into a bronchial infection, so get well soon, Caroline. Get well soon. I'll have to set that off, it's warming me up immeasurably. Oh, Caroline goes between purple and red. Well, we were at Chris Higgitt's, you see, and it was absolutely laminate down outside. So we weren't going to go out in the fresh air so that I could have a look at what colour exactly she'd dyed it. But very, very nice colour. So there you go. So that's that. Anyway, there is a punchline to the cooking. I may. Here we go. Oh, there's two of them here.
Going past.
Bye bye. Bye bye, Muffin.
Is he back? Yeah. Oh, Muffy.
There is a punchline while he's not listening. I may next make a meat potato pie.
Thank you, Mark.
You didn't hear that, did you?
No.
You didn't hear that. Which is T-Boy in Training's favourite. And as he's coming up soon, I may. The way to his heart is definitely straight through his stomach. So while we're talking about food, you will notice that I'd been to Quilligan's for my lunch, Fish and Chip Friday, the other day, and I'm having the nightmare of all problems with the sound on indoor filming. because you've got to bear in mind that you're sitting in a packed cafe and everybody's looking at you. Some of them probably have an idea who you are. Some of them will have realised that you're making a vlog. The rest of them will just think you've lost your mind. So you're sitting in a cafe with a camera on a tripod, pointing at you, talking to yourself when you're on your own, videoing yourself eating food. It's not normal. It's just not normal, is it? So when I'm doing Brew at 2 and we're in the office, I can sort of talk in my normal, loud, gobby manner. And you can't really do that in public circumstances, which is where it all gets difficult, because normally I use my normal microphone and I have an extension wire to plug it in so that I can get the camera far enough away from myself to be able to get me and the food in. So last time I used my GoPro, which worked quite well, but the external microphone didn't. It worked on one bit but not the other. So I'm discombobulated. I feel like that bat. I feel like that about the subject of videoing inside. I feel all of it. So anyway, I've been doing a little bit of research online and I've got a little bit of a plan for how to attack that particular problem. So we'll see if I can improve on it. I shall keep trying. Must try harder. As Kevin said to me when we had soup, not last week, the week before, it was very nice, but I think there's room for improvement. At which point I nearly smacked him and tipped the bowl over his head. So let's put Quilligans on the chipometer, shall we? Well, bearing in mind I was trying to do a fish and chip Friday, I thought it was only good form. It was only good form to have fish and chips. Now, a friend of mine, our lovely little friend Val, when we used to meet on Friday with her, she always used to go to Quilligan's in Blackpool. She used to have coffee with us, and then she used to say, "We said, what are you doing next, Val?" She said, "I'm going to Quilligan's with Olive for a dinner." Our little Val. So I've never been in. So I thought I'll go and try it. So I had the fish and chips in the spirit of Fish and Chip Friday, and I have to say they were very nice. Very nice indeed they were. So I'm going to put Quilligans on a yellow ticket. Quilligans yellow tickets are our best of the best and to be recommended. So there you go. We're going to put Quilligans. I think possibly we've got a kind of a equal footing. An equal footing up here with all the favourites. Yorkshire Fisheries, I'm afraid, is still out at the top. Still a great meal if you're in Beige. Still very nice. Nothing wrong with it at all, but definitely these up here are my favourites. So I think we'll put them up there. So I've got a few more on my list. I've got quite a bit of coverage to cover. Quite a few chip shops to cover. There's not as many fish and chip shops about as you might think there is, which is interesting, which I discovered as I started doing fish and chip videos. So that's Quilligans. Anyway, I promised that I'd got something to tell you, and it comes with one of them. I haven't even told these two yet. I was just going to say, oh, you'll never guess what, at lunchtime, and then I said, I'll not tell you. I'll tell you when we do Brew at 2, and then it'll not spoil your surprise. So that's coming up later, just to make sure that you carry on watching, you see. Tactics. Either that or you've got to very carefully fast forward through it and see if you can find it. Anyway, our Jones. The two that we made that we didn't video because we were really tired. Well, the three of us are still really tired. Kevin and I doing a bit of, we've been out today for our first walk. I think I managed 100 yards, if that, and like this. So we came in and went, oh, good. So we're going to try and get some fat off, and we're going to try and get a bit fitter. So obviously the conversation about the mobility scooter for T-Boy is still rumbling on, because when we can manage to actually walk for further than 100 yards without having to fall over flat and sort of go into a dead faint, we need to be able to take T-Boy on a longer jaunt. And obviously it is delicate age. It's not something that one would expect him to be able to keep up with. Anyway, the three of us, well, we're trying to recover from past events and build our health and well-being back up, are knackered, basically. Is that not true, boys?
Yeah.
Yes.
The three of us are knackered. We keep looking at one another and going like that. Doesn't exclude shortbread biscuits and chocolate though, Joanne. I have to say, you've got to have a little bit of what you fancy, because we can't live on. We eat a lot of vegetables. We eat a lot of. Today we've had stir fry with corn for our lunch. And at tea time we're having brown bread. We're having thick brown bread toasted. Tuesday treat that. We know how to live at Rabbit Towers. We do. So we do it quite well. We do it quite well, but you've got to have a little bit of naughty. So we didn't video the 2 jaunts. We went to Barton Grange on Saturday, and we went to the range yesterday. Before and after, really, because we've kept fancying going to Barton Grange, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's
A garden centre on steroids.
yes, a garden centre on steroids.
Toilets.
When you come off the motorway, what's that junction at Preston, Dad?
Oh, forward.
Fullwood.
Yeah.
When you go off the Fullwood junction at Preston and you come down the M55 to come into Blackpool, if you went round that roundabout and went up, is it the A6?
The A6, the old A6.
Up the old A6, as if you were going towards Lancaster. It's on
Barton.
that road. And it is very nice. It's an independently owned one. It's not one of these big chains or anything like that. And the Christmas displays are really good. Really lovely. It's worth going just to look at that.
Harrods.
But we didn't notice where it said Harrods above the door, or Harrods, as I called it. Goodness gracious me.
That was the food part, wasn't it?
So I'm walking round,
Animals.
going to these two, like this, across the shop, you see. Have you seen the price? Talk about expensive. Goodness gracious me. So one of the things that we particularly wanted was a glass worktop saver, because my super duper air frying injury thing is marvellous, but when you take the trays and the baskets out and one thing and another, you need to put them down, and I can't put them on the plastic chopping board because it's going to melt it. And I don't want to put them on the worktop because I don't want to end up with little yellow marks all over where the heat's affected the worktop. So I'd get Fortnum Masons, so I said, we'll get a glass worktop saver, we'll put it on the worktop at the end where the air fryer is, and then we'll be all set up. So we went in, they have a cook shop at Barton Grange, so we went in the cook shop. Very nice shop. I mean, the whole thing is just impeccable. It's unquestionably lovely. All beautifully set out. Lovely merchandising, the lot. So their glass worktop savers were $17.99. So I said to the tea boys, do you think, because we're going to go to the big Sainsbury's at some point as well, do you think they'll be cheaper in the big Sainsbury's? Yes, they both said. So, when we went to the range yesterday, I got a glass worktop saver. Now, anybody that likes the range will know that the range is kind of at the other end of the scale. So the glass worktop saver that I ended up buying was $6.99.
Which was just as nice.
Not imperceptibly any different to the one that was $17.99 in Barton Grange. So I thought we'd done well then. I thought we'd done well. So the Christmas displays are a sight to behold. The stuff that they've got is beautiful. There's all kinds of really unusual stuff, beautiful quality stuff, but either raid your piggy bank, take a sugar daddy with you, or put a lock on your wallet, because boy is it expensive.
You're talking to bats. If they took a sugar daddy, they'd eat him.
True, yeah. Yeah. So that was that. Anyway, yesterday we went to the range. So we came on from there, and the one thing that really put me off, they used to have a fresh cream cake counter
Back at Barton Grange.
at Barton Grange. We're still at Barton Grange. So they'd have big gâteaux that they cut you a slice off, and you can buy whatever you want, mix and match. So the one thing that I really wanted when I went to Barton Grange was a slice of Black Forest gâteau, because they sell Latham's Black Forest gâteaux. Absolutely delicious. I do have a penchant for Black Forest gâteau. So anyway, the COVID pandemic has obviously put paid to the concept of open cut. We'll take you a slice off if you want one. And now all the Latham's cakes and whatnot are all pre-packed into boxes so that they are hygienically wrapped. Fine, don't have a problem with that, but they didn't have any Black Forest gâteau. Only a full cake. So the smallest one was about that big, and the big one was like a proper party cake. I just couldn't. Apart from which, I didn't have my sugar daddy with me. That's cold. So that was the cake. So we came home from there, and I kid you not, the three of us drove home, just managing to stop awake, and I was driving. Walked in and flopped and said, I'm exhausted. Where have we been? Have we been to the trophy centre? So, little boy wanted to go to the range. So he's kept saying, I want to go to the range, I want to go to the range. I'm going to have a fisherman's friend. I want to go to the range, I want to go to the range. So yesterday I said, would you like to go to the range, little boy?
Oh yeah.
He's ready faster than he's ever been.
Yeah. So that's where we went yesterday. So that is a totally different kettle of fish. And if you've not been to the range, you need to go to the range. It's packed full of all kinds of everything. Remind me of you. All at a very reasonable price. All designed to tempt you. Lovely Christmas displays. Spot on. Spot on.
We filled the trolley.
Yes, we did. We filled the trolley. With the most random assortment of stuff that you've ever seen in your life. So including, what are they called, Kevin? Horse clips.
Yeah.
Jubilee clips.
Jubilee clips. Because I now have, drum roll and fanfare, a new bird feeder. My bird feeder, I've got one of those metal poles with the arms on. I've had it a long time. I think my mum bought it me for some birthday at some point. But I've had it a long time, so it's done service, and it's had a full assortment of bird feeders on it, and it sort of swings about in the wind. Anyway, it swung a little bit too far, and in all this salty sea air it had rusted, and it flopped and snapped in two. So we've got a new super heavy duty bird feeder,
Just a bit.
made out of a scaffolding pole, knocked into the grass, which we just happen to have lying about. Does everybody not have a scaffolding pole lying about? And to go with the scaffolding pole is cut the arms off the old one, and we started off with version 1, fastening them onto the scaffolding pole with cable ties, but there was a bit of play on them and they wobbled about a bit, so then he put some thick black masticky external glue stuff on, and there was still a little bit of play on it. So we splashed out when we went to the range and we got some Jubilee clips, and he fastened them on when we came home last night, and it's working perfectly. So I have now got my rusty scaffolding pole with the recycled curvy brackety things on off the other thing. So I'm all set up and ready to go. So there's no scams this week. Crispy asked if we've got any scams. There's no scams, but I have added the running total up. I try not to knock my bat off. If that's swinging. I have added it up. I can't do this in public because otherwise I will probably show myself up immeasurably with my complete inability to add up. So we are up to 74 million. So I don't think that's bad. I mean, it's the middle of October. So we're up to 74 million. I don't think that's bad for doing nothing. Joking apart, be careful if you see anything weird that comes through your email or text or anything like that. Apparently a new one is what looks like a text that comes from your daughter. Be alright sending me one, wouldn't they? I'd be saying, what daughter? Asking you to ring them back because they've run out of credit. So you need to just have your wits about you and be careful. And the other thing that was in Peggy's box was a story of shaggy dogs and black sheep. Let's have a look, shall we? I know what the background to Bedlam is. Right, are you ready? Burning the candle at both ends. Put your hands up if you can be accused of burning the candle at both ends. It's often used to describe people exhausting themselves by getting up early for work and then playing or working hard late into the night. And in bygone days, before electricity could keep us illuminated all night long, clerks and tradesmen working after dark would often secure their candles in the middle, horizontally, and then light them at both ends. It would give them enough light to work by, but not for very long, so they would have to work harder and faster in those conditions. And that's where the expression that we use today came from. That's really interesting, that. I mean, we all know the expressions, don't we? But we don't always know where they come from. So we'll work our way through that week by week by week. Well, Caroline, I'd like to suggest that you stop burning the candle at both ends because it does you no good at all. All it does is make you feel poorly. We're having terrible trouble with him, you know. If anybody would like to borrow Kevin for a week, he's very good at DIY, gardening, lifting heavy boxes. All you need to do is to pay him in food. If anybody would like to apply, I can send him. I'll put a tag round his neck with the return address on. Okay. I'll send him to you. I'll pay his transport costs, so you won't even need to pay that. So all you need to do is to keep him warm and feed him for a week, and you can have him on loan. In fact, you can have him permanently if you like.
I only came to stay at yours for a week.
No.
He only came to stay for Christmas and we never got shut to him.
No, Derek's just done what you've done. He's given me that look and he says, sit down. I says, would you like to tell them the origin of the acrylic paint called Hooker's Green?
I've also got pencils called Hooker's Green.
Well, I thought it was a, place...
No, it's not a brothel.
A park where you picked up ladies, but apparently
Go on, you
Tell
might
them.
as well tell them now.
Well, apparently,
Hooker
It was-
was the artist on Darwin's boat.
there you go.
Did you hear that, people? If you've got any pencils with names on them or paints and you've got a Hooker's green, Hooker was the artist on Darwin's boat. I thought that Darwin did all those lovely illustrations and paintings himself.
I was enlightened.
There
Come on,
you go.
Muffin.
Right, drum roll, drum roll. Are you both paying attention? Come back,
Yeah.
come back. Both of you, come and stand at the back of me.
Oh,
Come
is it
on.
that good?
Come on, we've got to come back.
It's that good. It's that good.
I need a box out a bit.
We're both getting paid. I'm here.
Never mind, your headache will go soon. I'm going to sit down.
Drum roll and fanfare.
Yes.
Drum roll and fanfare. I got quite a surprise this morning. I've not told either of them yet, which is why I've dragged them out of the chairs. I've been making vlogs for
Oh, you haven't, have you?
about 2 years.
Have you?
Just shut your gob, will you? Please. Just for 2 seconds. See, Caroline's got Hooker's green. Did you know what they were, Caroline? So I've been publishing Visit FYLDE COAST online and email newsletters and social media and all that kind of stuff. To thousands and thousands and millions of people for 13 years in January, 13 years, and started doing vlogs it would have been about May, June time when lockdown started. So this morning, drum roll and fanfare, I happened to notice that we have finally reached the milestone of 3 million views.
Wow. Wow.
3 million?
Well
3
done.
million.
Muffin says, well done, Jane. That's worth a kiss.
Mwah. So we're not quite up to 10,000
Wow.
subscribers yet. So you can see why it's important that if you told everybody that they needed to subscribe, we might manage that, might we? And then don't forget we've got the competition running as well.
I have to say, I can't take any credit for that.
No, you can't. Frankly. In fact, I'll just remind you of the competition because the stuff's down here. I've even been trying to tidy up in the office. I'm making a little bit of progress. Let's put it this way, we've got rid of a lot of rubbish. So don't forget there's a competition for 10,000 subscribers to celebrate. And I set it off a little bit too early, given the fact that we'd got Dire Straits going off at home. So we're gonna get these diddled and done. So I'll do another little video and we'll draw that when we get to 10,000. So I was quite pleased, especially as it had crept up on me, because I sort of watched the number. I'd watched the number coming up, and I mean I've not done barely a stroke of work for best part of 2 months. So yeah, that was my little bit of exciting news for today. Which brings us on to another drum roll. It brings us on to birthdays. So don't forget, if you want, I've got my shiny new 2023 calendar ready. So I'll transfer all the birthdays for all the regulars onto that. And I don't think there's any on here that I've missed. This is last year's. I got very confused when obviously all the days are on the wrong day, aren't they? So very confusing. Yes, that's it. So there's none to carry forward from that one. But I do have 2 celebrations to mention today. So it's Colin Bell's. Just bear with me a second. I printed this out. She, Mrs. Mrs. Bell emailed me at dinner time. So I literally printed this out just before we came on air. So Jackie says, please could I include her husband Colin when I do the birthday shout outs on Brew at 2. He will be 65 on Sunday the 30th. Happy birthday, Colin. Big birthday. Hope you're going to have some balloons and a cake. He's not getting a pension or a bus pass, but recognition from Rabbit Towers, and what more could he want? Exactly. And the other one on the same day, on Sunday the 30th, is our very complicated second mum and dad's wedding anniversary. So happy wedding anniversary to Brenda and Keith. And may you have many more together. May you have many, many more together. It's a very long and very complicated story, largely surrounding the fact that we're all so much like one another that we must be related some way. I'll not even try to explain. So while she was emailing me, Jackie said, we've bought our tickets for the Care for Cleveland's raffle and booked our places for the afternoon tea at the tramway, which just reminded me that I need to tell you about that. So the Cleveland's town centre volunteers are revving up their activities. So we're planning for Christmas, which is completely revolutionary for reasons which I couldn't possibly begin to start explaining here. So there'll be an announcement to come soon about that. But we're also as well planning for flowers for next year. So the Tramway pub, which is the one as you're actually, it's the last building as you're sort of coming into the town centre, have organised an afternoon tea and entertainment, and they've put together a raffle which is going to be drawn on that afternoon. And the lovely Brenda has actually ended up collecting most of the prizes for the raffle, which I don't think she expected to do, but nonetheless she's done a sterling job. So the tickets are £1 a strip. I'm not quite sure yet who's stripping. It might be T-Boy in training. And there's afternoon tea at £7.50 a ticket, and £5 of that goes to Care for Cleveland's. And there's entertainment as well. I'm not quite sure what kind of entertainment. It might just be Kevin standing on a table stripping. Perish the thought.
I thought you wanted to sell tickets.
Well, they might pay to get you to leave your clothes on.
Exactly.
We might need to do that fundraising event again in another 12 months when he's lost some weight and toned up a bit. So if anybody wants to come, it's on, oh, here we go. We've got the nutcases in the house. Come back. Oh, crispy. Goodness, you were faster than me then. Thank you. Thank you for deleting that. We've got the spammers on the job. So the Care for Cleveland's raffle is on... See, at this point, I normally have Brenda. 31st of October. Is that right, Brenda? No, it's not. It's in November, isn't it? I can't check because it's on my phone. It's on my phone. Hold on. Just realised I've got a diary. I've got a diary here. Afternoon tea is on... I used to be organised at some time. 15th, Tuesday the 15th of November. So I'm ever so sorry, but there won't actually be a Brew at 2 on that day. So I apologise now. The organisation of it was absolutely nothing to do with me. This was all done while I was out of circulation. So there will be no Tuesday the 15th, but if anybody wants to come and join us for afternoon tea at the tramway, and, well, hysteria probably, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, and a bit of cake. So I think that concludes today's proceedings. The only other thing is a reminder from Christine to put your clocks back on Sunday, well, Saturday night when you go to bed, which is a pain in the neck, although at this time of the year we do get an extra hour to sleep in, which can't be a bad thing. It's the spring one that's a pain because you just end up hard for a week. So that's that. So I hope you've enjoyed Brew at 2 today. I know we've not made you laugh quite as much as we did last week with the air fryer, but nonetheless, it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to share the afternoon with the bats. And on that note, I'm going to leave you on our finale. Smiling is infectious. You'll catch it like the flu. When someone smiled at me today, I started smiling too. I passed around the corner and someone saw my grin. And when he smiled, I realised I passed it on to him. I thought about that smile, then realised its worth. A single smile, just like mine, could travel round the earth. So if you feel a smile begin, don't leave it undetected. Let's start an epidemic, quick, and get the world infected. Bye for now. See you next week.